Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Morning Tea. Today's tea is Earl Grey tea from the Mountain Witch Tea Company. Ugh, it's hot, you guys. It's hot and I can't sip it because I'll burn my tongue off and then I won't be able to taste anything for the rest of the bloody day. Hot in here. Some good news, you guys. Some type of news. So Daniel Holtzclaw was convicted, you guys. It's like they're finally saying that Black women's lives matter. It's a little victory, right? Put right here the video where I talk about Daniel Holtzclaw and what he did to his accusers, his victims. Out of the 36 counts, he only got charged with 18 counts, but was sentenced to 236 years in prison. So he was in the courtroom crying. There are pictures of him, his face all jacked up. And more than anything, I hope it makes the victims feel like them coming forward was the right thing to do, and that is a tiny victory for women and for Black women when it comes to rape and rapists and coming forward, them getting justice for it. Speaking of rape, so Bill Cosby is now countersuing several of his victims, several of the people who are accusing him of rape. He's suing them for defamation of character and slander. So he's basically saying no, I didn't do this, and now I'm suing you. I'm countersuing you for defamation and slander. But here's the deal. The damage has already been done. The people who don't believe that Cosby did any of this or raped any of these women are people who are in stone cold crazy denial. 40 people don't come forward and say you did something without you having done it to at least 10. I'm not trying to negate any of these women's experiences with Cosby. I believe that he is a serial rapist. He has in the past, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, drugged women. Either they didn't know it was drugs or it was stronger than what they thought it was going to be, which rendered them helpless and unable to say no or unable to do or say really anything, and then had sex with them. Now, there are a lot of people who want to mince the details and say, well, they knew they were taking a drug, so why were they taking drugs? Here's the deal. They can't say no if they can't fully consent before, during, and after the act. It's rape. I don't understand why there's such a pushback on that. So a lot of things happened in the Republican debate last night. Basically, I felt like if I was playing a drinking game to how many times they said San Bernardino, they said ISIS, and they said the Obama administration or Obama, I would have been passed out, blackout drunk. They use those key terms so much that to the point where I was just oh, they're getting points somewhere. Somewhere in their constituency, they're getting points for using these key terms. And it was just the fight between Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz about who did what and who signed what bill and who put what bill forward was just so tedious. And I think Chris Christie was absolutely right to interject, saying this is what it's like to be in the Senate or to be in the House with people fighting back and forth about these little bitty details of a bill when it's all about actually getting things done in the White House. So how can we expect Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio to be viable candidates for the Republican nominee, for the Republican nomination? They're just not. I mean, it's get out of here. Nobody cares about these little minute, oh, you signed this bill, you did this, you talked to this person, you shook hands with that guy, and that means that you're this. For their parents to both be immigrants, their whole stance on immigration is so weird and crazy to me. Most immigrants do jobs that Americans don't want to do. Come on, you're not even the people that they're fighting for to keep those immigrants out aren't the people who the immigrants are taking jobs from. Finally, Bush got some backbone and stood up to Trump. My father really wanted Bush to go in on Trump, but I feel like Bush is being the right kind of candidate. He's keeping his decency. I was actually really shocked that my father really wanted Bush to go at Trump. I felt like it was petty and it was belittling of the office and belittling of his position as governor. And it just was it's not what this is supposed to be about. And the people who want him to do that are feeding into something that I don't agree with, It's Trump just said some dumb stuff, dude. He wants the brightest and the smartest internet minds to go into the internet and ferret out ISIS and make it so they can't communicate with people in the, what is he talking about? It's he doesn't even know how the internet works. Like, he doesn't even understand, like, he doesn't understand what it is. Like, it's like the web, right? You have the framework, which is the World Wide Web, and then you have the internet, which sits on top of it. So, like, you can't send troops into it to, like, ferret out people. Like, it's so vast and it's so dense. And then the ways that you can do it, which aren't that good, are gonna impede on rights. It's like this free space that you're gonna try to, like, control in a way that sounds like China or North Korea. Like, no. What are you talking about? You're going, like, Trump just says, he just says things that people want to hear, and the people who love him aren't thinking about how he's going to actively do these things. How these things that he can't just do he can't do any of these things without getting Congress approval. And Congress is not going to approve any of these crazy schemes. He doesn't have, like, totalitarian rule, like, as a president. Like, a president doesn't work like that. That's why there's 3 branches of government, so that the president can't just come in and make sweeping changes to things. And then Carly Fiorina talking about Putin, how she wouldn't have conversation with him. Like, sit down, miss. Like, I want Trump to sit down. I want Fiorina to sit down. I want Cruz to sit down, Rubio to sit down. Ben Carson, like, who cares? I really just think that it should be Chris Christie, Jeb Bush, and Rand Paul. Like, those are the 3. Those are my 3. Like, I don't care about any of the rest of them. They're the only ones that, like, make the most sense to me. I just like them. I mean, I know people don't like Chris Christie, but, like, at least I know that he's a bully. Like, at least I know Chris Christie will shut down a bridge when he's mad. Like, I like that transparency. All the rest of them could just have all the seats, just several seats, and sit down. I'd never heard of this, but Michael Jordan apparently is in the news because, first of all, the 2 parts of this story. Michael Jordan's name was used in an ad in Sports Illustrated in 2009 by this restaurant chain, the steak restaurant chain. A cut above the rest. Michael Jordan won, blah, blah, blah. And if you want, like, a good cut of meat, come to our steakhouse and eat our steak. Our steak is like Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? And so, but didn't ask for permission to use Michael Jordan. Like, didn't get, like, a release to use his name. And so he sued them. This little steakhouse, or this little, like, company, is going to use his likeness and his name to sell steaks. Like, when did he fall from grace, you know? So it's like you're bringing down the value of what his name is and who he is as a person. So he sued them, and he won. He won $8.9 million. And then, this is the second part, Michael Jordan has now donated this money to different charities around Chicago, because for him it was never about the money. It was more so about them just using his likeness to sell steaks. And, like, so he's like giving the money away to charity. I know one of the charities that he's using is, like, I think Youth Diabetes Fund or something like that. Like, he's giving, that's $8.9 million to, like, even if he gives it to, like, 8 different charities or 9 different charities, that's still, like, that's like $1 million each. So I'm actually really happy about that. That makes me happy. That's something good to end morning tea with. So you guys, that's it for morning tea today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. And if you have any suggestions of what I should talk about next week, what I didn't talk about this week, please go ahead and leave them down in the description box. And you guys have a fantastic day, okay? Bye.